Welcome back to the Author's Corner podcast, the place where inspiring and established authors come to grow, learn, and publish with purpose. I'm your host, Tiffany Dillard. I am your favorite book publishing coach and writing coach. And today we're going to dive into a topic that writers need to understand, and that is storytelling with purpose, how to impact readers' lives. Your storytelling matters, whether it's a nonfiction book or a fiction book. It matters how you tell the story. And you want it to resonate with your readers. You want it to draw them in. So we're going to get into that today. So go ahead and get your favorite snack. I want you to get your notebook so you can take notes, get your drink. I want you to get everything you need to help you stay engaged with this episode, okay? Because anyone can write words on a page, but not everyone writes words that stay in a reader's heart, that stay in their mind. So you want your story to grasp. So you need to take notes on this episode. You need to be taking notes on all of the episodes, period. Okay. And if you are new to the Author's Corner podcast, go ahead and subscribe. So that way, if you might have kind of, ran up on this episode and you're like, whoa, hold on. I need to get all the information. You was kind of listening. Go ahead, stop, subscribe so you can go back and then you can take your notes. But great storytelling does more than entertain. It transforms, it inspires, it heals, and it shifts perspectives. So today we're going to talk about why stories stick more than facts. We're also going to talk about
the throne. Every story written, heaven has known. From broken pages to destiny's plan. God put vision inside this pen. We don't write for fame or applause. We write to awaken hearts to the cross. Every chapter carries light. Every word we write ignites. We are voices in the earth, birthing truth and giving word. We are Kingdom Scribes, writing heaven's design. Called to speak, called to shine. Our stories will change the world in time. We are Kingdom Scribes, anchored in His truth divine. With every line and every word, revival rises when we're heard. We are Kingdom Scribes. We are Kingdom Scribes. From journals filled with silent tears to testimonies conquering fear, we write what heaven wants revealed, so wounded hearts can finally heal. This is more than just a brand. This is purpose in our hands. We are builders of legacy, authors of it.
All right, you got everything you needed, because we're finna jump on into this topic about, storytelling. So first one we're going to talk about is why stories stick more than facts. And you may say, Tiffany, like, I don't know about that. So you mean to tell me that a story will stick more in my reader's heart and mind than facts? How? Let's talk about it. Facts inform people, but stories move people. Facts inform people, but stories move people. So think about it. Many people forget statistics. They forget numbers and random information quickly. They're listening to it, they're taking it all in, but if you ask them to kind of give it back to you, it's going to be real sporadic. So they're not going to give you all of the information back that you just gave them. But they will remember stories for years because it impacted them. It had a big impression upon their heart. It moved them. It challenged them. It caused them to start thinking about some things in their own mind, because stories connect emotionally. It connects to our emotions. So when readers experience a story, they don't just process information, they feel it. And I can attest to that, because when people were reading my book, The Reflection of Me, they were like, Tiffany, I feel like I was on a roller coaster ride, an emotional roller coaster ride with you at that. I felt like I was going up and down. I was experiencing your highs and lows. I was right there in the room when you were going through this, and I was right there in the room when you were going through that, and when you were feeling all of the feelings when it came to filing the divorce, like all of the things they were feeling because my story was impacting their emotion. So they just wasn't reading my book. They were experiencing what I experienced through my storytelling. So I want you to take down these key points. Facts speak to the mind. Stories speak to the heart. Stories help readers see themselves in the journey. And you may say, well, Tiffany, did they see themselves in your journey? They did. My book was talking about how I survived domestic violence. And there were some people that went through that themselves. And it helped them to realize that they still had wounds. It helped them to realize that they were responding to situations and circumstances and even people in a certain way. And they didn't realize that the reason why they were doing that is because of that root from being in that abusive relationship. You had some people that it helped them to understand where their family members was coming from when they felt like, you should leave. Why can't you leave? This doesn't make any sense. And they were getting frustrated with them. My book helped them to understand why they were staying, because it gave them insight, into their mind. And then you had some people that did not even realize they were in a domestic violence relationship because they felt like domestic violence was just physical. They didn't realize that domestic violence also include verbal, emotional, and mental. So when they started to look at it from that perspective, based off what I was sharing in my book, they were like, whoa, I didn't even realize that relationship was toxic. And I was in a domestic violence relationship. I was in an abusive relationship because they didn't have the scars. They didn't have the bruises. So they was like, no, we just got into a little spat and a little argument, but it caused them to sit with themselves and really kind of comb through their relationship to be like, wow, which then led for their wounds to be exposed. So your readers will see themselves in your story if you tell the story. Now, I'm not saying when you're telling the story, you got to tell all of the story. You got to tell everything. You're going to tell what God tells you to tell, to say, and to share with everybody else. And yes, this is a Christian podcast for Christian authors. So yes, we are being led by God when it comes to our books. So let God lead you and guide you on what part of your story you need to tell. But whatever part he tells you to tell it. Because honesty is what's relatable. Tell your truth so that someone else can own their truth and get the healing that they need. So next point is emotions create memory and memory creates impact. And then this point, readers may forget what you said, but they won't forget how your story made them feel. So you may have people that saying your book took them on a roller coaster ride, but the fact of the matter that they acknowledge that your book took them on a roller coaster ride means that it was impactful to them. It impacted their heart and their mind. It caused them to think. I had some people to say, I got much respect for you because I didn't realize that you were going through all of what you were going through. And then look at you now on the other side of it, and to be on this side to tell the story. It caused people to see me in a different light. So here's an example. So you can tell someone perseverance is important. That's a fact, because perseverance is important. But when you tell the story of someone who lost everything, who kept going and rebuilt their life, their message becomes unforgettable. When you tell the story of how you persevered, how you made it to the other side, how what was meant to break you didn't, how what was meant to break that business didn't, how that trauma, that abuse, those mistakes, your past, like you felt like you wasn't going to be able to make it through, but you're here on the other side telling the story. As I just said, it helps people to have a different level of respect for you because they see you in a different light. It draws them to you. And they're like, oh, how? Tell me more. Tell me more. So I want you to ask yourself as a writer, ask yourself this: am I only sharing information? Are you just being informative? Are you writing your book just to be informative? Just to tell someone how to do something, to just give somebody some information about something? Or am I creating an experience for the reader? Because both questions will help you understand which way you're going when it comes to writing your book. And these two questions take back to God. Ask him, God, am I just sharing information with the people? Or am I creating an experience for them? Which way are we going with this book? Because that will help you not spend so much time trying to figure out what you're going to write. Just go and ask these questions and ask God to help you. And if you really look at your points that you've written down pertaining to your book, or you may have already started writing a book, if you go back and just read what you wrote, you'll be able to answer those two questions for yourself. Because readers, they crave experiences. Why do you think we're always on social media? Everybody is consuming all of this information. Reels, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, because we are wanting somebody to tell a story, and we're wanting them to tell us, something that impacts us, makes us laugh, makes us feel a certain type of way. We are looking for a story. That's why they have these options: stories, reels, posts, experiences, what's on your mind, because people are wanting to know what's going on with you. So then let's get into the next point: the power of parables and testimonies. So one of the greatest teaching methods ever used was storytelling through parables. And we know that Jesus did that very well. Jesus often taught through stories because stories open hearts before truth enters the mind. You have to have some form of access point. You can, if you're like a person that wants to write a book about credit repair, you can't go in and just kind of come in and just tear the people down because they made bad decisions with their credit. They made bad decisions in this, financial, this area in their finances. You can't do that. You got to be able to tell them a story. And the story that you can tell is your own. Because something had to happen in your own finances with your own credit for you to be able to write this book about credit repair. So you don't want to just come on and just give all the information as a person that says, hey, I did this credit thing right. Tell your story. What led you to be a person that wants to help people repair their credit, or wants to help people understand what finances is all about, stocks and bonds and trust and things like that, 401ks and, investing in Bitcoin? Like, what made you get to this point to where you're doing it yourself and you want to teach someone else? There's a story behind that. So a parable takes a deeper lesson and wraps it in relatable language. So anytime Jesus had told a parable, he talked about like what it was, wine, or he talked about lambs and, the animals, or he may have talked about kingdom or a king. He talked about something relatable to that time, wheat and harvesting wheat. He talked about, he got on their level so that they could understand what he was saying. He didn't talk high. He was talking kingdom, but on their level. Because if he really talked straight kingdom, it would have went over their heads. Their hearts would not have been open. And they'd have been sitting there like, you say what now, Jesus? Because you're talking real big. You using some real big words. You are speaking some heavenly language and we don't understand nothing that you're saying. So he had to break those stories. He had to break the kingdom knowledge down into a story so that, again, their heart could be open, and that would lead to their mind receiving and processing and understanding what he was saying. And I want you to know that testimonies do the same thing. They do. Your testimony is proof that healing, growth, restoration, and breakthrough is possible. So the reflection of me, that book, that was my testimony to let people know that, yes, I was in a domestic violence relationship. Yes, I lost myself. I was insecure. I was a people pleaser. I was a performer. Somebody that said they loved me, put their hands on me, like all of the things was happening. Yes, that happened. But I walked you through from me being a victim to being victorious. Because I didn't want you to think that staying in that relationship was the only option that I had. But in the midst of me becoming victorious, my relationship with God was restored. My voice was restored. My sound was restored. And then he birthed something out of me, becoming an author, so that now I can go out here and help you become an author as well. I had to tell my story so that I could come out here to build something to help others. So your testimony, it's not something that you just keep to yourself. Share it with others so other people can know that they can overcome. So other people can know that there is a life outside of the pain and the trauma and the confusion and the manipulation, whatever it is. Like, your testimony is like a key to saying, hey, I got the key to this door. You don't have to stay in here. I got the key. I'm finna unlock it so you can come on out. So I want you to write these key points down. Parables simplify complex truths. Testimonies build hope and credibility. Stories create connection faster than instructions alone. So stories create connection faster than instructions alone. And then readers trust authenticity. All right. So you may be asking, well, why does this all matter? I just want to write my book. I just want to get it out there. Why does this all matter? People are tired of polished perfection. We see that a lot on social media. Everybody's trying to be Peter perfect or Patty perfect. They want to connect to the real journey. Even if your book is about how you came into knowing God, your salvation story. Have a book inside of you, but not sure how to publish it on your own? Well, welcome to the Kingdom Scribe Academy, the place where inspiring authors learn how to turn their manuscripts into a published book with confidence. Inside the Kingdom Scribe Academy, you'll get access to many courses that break down publishing step by step. We have ebooks filled with practical strategies and guidance. We also have a Kingdom Scribe mentorship program for writers who want hands-on support through the publishing journey. Whether you're starting with just an idea or already have a complete manuscript, the Kingdom Scribe Academy gives you the tools, the knowledge, and support to publish successfully on your own. So stop guessing, stop delaying, stop building and stop building all of those excuses. but start building your author's legacy by enrolling and joining the Kingdom Scribe Academy. So if you want to join and you want to learn more about the Kingdom Scribe Academy, head on over to our website, nvpublishingco.com. On the website, you'll see at the top of the screen where it says Kingdom Scribe Academy. Click on that link and it will take you right over to that page to where you can learn all the things about the Kingdom Scribe Academy. You don't have to sit stuck trying to figure out how you're going to publish your book. You don't have to sit stuck trying to figure out how you're going to complete, what you started. You don't have to sit stuck in your mind trying to answer your own questions about book publishing. New Voice Books has created this Kingdom Scribe Academy just for you. So again, head on over to nvpublishingco.com so that you can learn more about the Kingdom Scribe Academy, and go ahead and try out those mini courses. If you need the Kingdom Scribe mentorship program, sign up. If you need the ebooks, sign up. The tools and resources are there and available for you, okay? Go do it. Get it done. People want to know that that's real. Because a lot of people tell people you need to have a relationship with God, but nobody talks about how they got to their relationship with God. Everybody's trying to, hey, I'm this and I'm that when it comes to business, and I'm doing 6 figures and I made $1 million in a day, but nobody's breaking it down and talking about how you did that. Because unless you came from $1 million, family, $1 billion family, you didn't come into this earth already set up with that money. So how did you do that? How did you do that? And if you're real and you're honest, those people that need to hear that information is going to be drawn to you. So if you've overcome pain, rejection, loss, addiction, fear, trauma, your story may be the key that unlocks freedom for someone else. If you did build that business and you are making $1 million, $1 billion a day, then that business owner who's struggling, your story can help them be encouraged to say, hey, don't close it unless God tell you to close it. Let's go back to the drawing board. Because sometimes it just means a relaunch. Sometimes it means just kind of sitting back and looking at what has been happening all this time and seeing where we can make adjustments. It may just be, hey, we might need to connect to somebody that is doing well to see what systems they're using, what upgrades you may need. Like, you want to share your testimony. You want to share that relatable story with someone so they can know that they can be free, so they can know that they can be victorious, so they can know that they can be successful. Whatever it is. But you got to tell the story. You can't be like, I don't know if I want to just share that part of my life. Why? You overcame. You're victorious. You're living in victory. Why not help someone else? Why not write out the map and say, here's everything you need to get from here to here, from point A to point B. Even with the disruptions, even with the maybe some delays, even with all of that stuff, you still can make it from point A to point B. And I got the blueprint for you. Why not? So I want to encourage you, okay? I don't want you to underestimate what you survived. I don't want you to underestimate that you survived that toxic family, that molestation, that toxic marriage or relationship. I don't want you to underestimate that you survived being laid off and now you are $1 billion. You got a company that's $1 billion. It's $1 billion company. You are making those 6 figures. You're able to invest in others. without a blink. You know, I don't want you to underestimate you going from being a person who was a people pleaser and a performer to being a person who is sure of themselves and their identity. Don't underestimate that. And what embarrassed you may empower someone else. So yeah, you did what you did. You made the mistakes. You failed, you fall. I mean, you failed and you failed. And you failed and you failed. And you failed. You had a few falls, yeah. You got embarrassed. But at the end of the day, what hurt you, what may have damaged you, also helped build you. And you survived through it. And that can empower someone else. It didn't break you. It didn't bend you. It didn't unalive you. It strengthened you. It changed you. There may have been some correction, but it brought forth a better you. Let that story empower someone else. What broke you may become the blueprint that helps heal another person. You are the blueprint. And I believe I got an episode about that. I think it's probably season 1 or 2. But you are the blueprint. Your story is the blueprint. So come on now, you out here saying like, well, why people can't do it like this? Maybe they just waiting on you. You are the blueprint. So blueprint, show up. Write the story. And so the next one we're going to go to is writing with transformation in mind. So purposeful writing asks one important question. You ready? Who will be changed because they read this? Who will be changed because they read your story? They read your book. Who? Who are those people? Who is that target audience that will be changed after they read your book? If you want to impact lives, you don't just write to be seen. Write to serve. You've been asking yourself, God, how can I serve your people? How can I serve you? And he keep coming back with the answer, write the book. And you're like, no, God, how is that serving? Well, he's reminding you again tonight. Well, tonight, in the morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Write to serve. So I want you to ask yourself before writing, I want you to ask yourself these questions before writing, okay? What problem does your book address? What pain does it speak to? What truth does it reveal? What hope does it offer? And then lastly, how should the reader feel after the final page? So I hear somebody say, Tiffany, can you ask those questions one more time? Because I need to write them down. Sure. So the first question is, what problem does this book address? What are you trying to solve by writing this book? Because if there's a problem, your book is the solution. What pain does it speak to? What truth does it reveal? What hope does it offer? And how should the reader feel after the final page? So those questions, and don't try to rush through those questions. Sit with those questions and allow yourself time to really answer them. You know, because sometimes we'll move too quick trying to answer stuff. No, just give some time for, you to think about the questions and then, answer them. And then let's do some transformation-based writing examples, okay? So these are transformation-based writing examples. So instead of writing only about heartbreak, write towards healing. What's the journey from heartbreak to healing? So instead of writing only about failure, write towards growth. Like, show both ends of the spectrum. Instead of writing only about struggle, write towards victory. So you want to give them the problem, and then you want to give them the solution. You don't want to just be a whole bunch of problems. No, give them the solution. Because if you give them a book full of problems, it's like, okay, so is there another book that's going to tell me how to solve these problems? Walk them through that journey. Each chapter should be giving them tools and resources, from the pain to what you need, that the solution. Okay, the solution. So heartbreak towards healing, failure towards growth, struggle to victory. Okay, readers don't mind walking through pain with you, but they need light somewhere in the journey. You can't just give them all the darkness and then don't give them the light. You got to give them the light. So transformation doesn't mean every ending must be perfect. So perfect Patty, perfect Peter. It ain't always going to be perfect, okay? So understand that. But it means the reader gains something. And they're going to gain wisdom. They're going to gain perspective. They're going to gain healing. They're going to gain strength. They're going to gain faith. They're going to gain courage. And they're going to gain clarity. All right? So don't think that they're not going to gain anything, because they're going to gain a whole lot by you being a great storyteller. So I want you to do me a favor. I always give y'all a little homework every now and then, okay? So don't be smacking your lips and rolling your eyes or whatever. Just do the homework. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what transformation do I want my reader to experience? When they're reading your book, what transformation do you want them to experience? Then go back to your manuscript and write with that answer in mind. Okay? So the answer that you come up with from that question, take that back to your manuscript and use that as a writing point. So to help you to kick off your writing. Because when purpose meets story, impact happens. When purpose meets story, impact happens. Okay? So let's be clear that we are storytellers. Yes, you're a writer. Yes, you're an author, and you are also a storyteller. So that means that you want to be honest with yourself on the story that you're going to tell. And you want to be clear with your audience so that you can be impactful, so that their lives can be transformed, and so that they can grow, they can heal, and they can be victorious like you are. Okay? And then don't hold back. If God told you to tell the story, tell the story. You don't have to hold back. You no longer have to be embarrassed or ashamed or feel any form of condemnation pertaining to your story. It's your story. Don't worry about whether or not people are going to judge you. That's not your problem. Your concern is putting the content out, putting the book out so that it can be the roadmap to help somebody get to freedom. That's the only thing that you need to be worried about. When I put out the reflection of me, yeah, people may have judged me because I went through domestic violence, but that wasn't the point. The point was to reach that family member that was kind of distancing themselves and judging their family member for why they didn't leave. And then now they have an understanding of their mindset because they read my book. My book was for those people that may not have known that they were in domestic violence relationships, but now they know. And so now they're going back and doing the healing work, the soul work that they need. So that way they don't have to be carrying these scars, and they're not showing up crazy in this relationship and they don't understand why. So your book has purpose. Your story has purpose. And so tell it. So I want to thank you for joining me on the Author's Corner podcast. I want you to share this episode with another writer. And then I want you to subscribe. Like, just don't come over here and date me. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and then share it out with other people, because I want you to get the insight that you need. I want you to get the publishing wisdom that you need and the encouragement that you need to keep moving, keep writing, because our stories are going to change one life at a time. So again, I am your host, Tiffany Dillard, and I am here to remind you that your voice matters, your story matters, and your book, again, will change lives. So until next time, I want you all to continue to write with purpose, and I love you guys. Be blessed.
Hey, oh. We were called with a pen in our hands, chosen vessels with a burning command, ink and purpose flowing from the throne. Every story written, heaven has known. From broken pages to destiny's plan, God put vision inside this pen. We don't write for fame or applause, we write to awaken hearts to the cross. Every chapter carries light, every word we write ignites. We are voices in the earth, birth and truth and giving word. We are Kingdom Scribes, writing heaven's design. Called to speak, called to shine. Our stories will change the world in time. We are Kingdom Scribes, anchored in His truth divine. With every line and every word, revival rises when we're heard. We are Kingdom Scribes. We are Kingdom Scribes. From journals filled with silent tears to testimonies conquering fear, we write what heaven wants revealed, so wounded hearts can finally heal. This is more than just a brand, this is purpose in our hands. We are builders of legacy, authors of eternity. We don't shrink back, we don't hide. There's oil on the words we write. Yeah, called and anointed, set apart. God put His story in our heart. We are Kingdom Scribes, writing heaven's design. Called to speak, called to shine. Our stories will change the world in time. We are Kingdom Scribes, anchored in His truth divine. With every line and every word, revival rises when we're heard. We are Kingdom Scribes. We are Kingdom Scribes. We are Kingdom Scribes, voices for such a time, writing faith into the night, turning pain to living light. We are Kingdom Scribes, and surrender to the divine. Watch the nations be transformed. Our stories will change the world. Walk into the Author's Corner, where Kingdom Scribes are raised and stories change the world. We are Kingdom Scribes.